السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أبنائي الأعزاء طلاب الثانوية العامة، مرحبا بكم، وإن شاء الله ده أول لقاء لينا بإذن الله. وهنبدأ بفرع مهم جدا وهو الأورجانيك كيمستري، وطبعا دي من الفروع المهمة وبتجمع درجات حلوة معانا أوي في الأسئلة، وحتى موضوعاتها سهلة أو بسيطة أو لأنها ليها قواعد وليها حاجات سهلة ممكن نتعامل معاها. وطبعا هنتواصل مع بعض ان شاء الله، لو حد ليه كومنتس او حد ليه اي اسئله او اي حاجه بتبعتها لنا واحنا بنرد عليك، ويبقى في بينا تواصل ان شاء الله ونحقق استفاده كويسه. الماده سهله او بسيطه وان شاء الله هتعجبكم، وبعد حصه او اتنين كده وانت ماشي كده مع الكتاب ومع الحل ومع الكلام دوت هتلاقي نفسك فعلا هتستظرفها وهتبقى ظريفه قوي، وهيبقى جزء جميل وجزء جديد بالنسبه لك ان شاء الله. اولا يعني ايه معنى كلمه organic chemistry؟ organic chemistry branch of chemistry which explain the type of compounds contain mainly of carbon. The first scientist who discovered organic chemistry and classified organic chemistry is Berzelius, which do an vital force theory. Vital force theory called that all organic chemistry, all organic compounds are obtained from the living organisms. It takes long time till Fowler, German scientist, destroyed this vital force theory by preparing an compound in lab from the inorganic compounds. The experiment which Fowler make it, he prepared urea from ammonium chloride, react with silver cyanate, double substitution to be easily study the equation silver with chloride, ammonium with cyanate. It produce silver chloride and ammonium cyanate. By strongly heating for ammonium cyanate, it produce urea. First experiment is very important. Reaction between ammonium chloride, silver cyanate, it produce silver chloride, ammonium cyanate. Strongly heating of ammonium cyanate, it produce urea. What is the difference between organic compounds and inorganic compounds? Organic compounds contain mainly of carbon, maybe with hydrogen and other elements. But inorganic compounds may be contain carbon or not. It contain different elements combined together. Organic chemistry produce large number of compounds, but inorganic have few numbers of compounds. Why organic chemistry have large number of compounds? Because carbon is tetravalent element which can form single bond between two atoms of carbon, or form methane with 4 bonds with hydrogen, and can form double bond or triple bond, and can combine with other elements, oxygen, nitrogen, to form large number of compounds. So organic compounds have very large number, huge number of compounds due to the formation of different types of bonds. Different types of bonds as single bond, double bond, or triple bond, and can form cyclocompound or aromatic compound or a long chain, open chain. This is due to carbon can join with 4 elements in 4 directions. It gives it more chance to form large number of compounds. We can make and compare between organic compounds and inorganic compounds. It can't coming as a question, but we must know it to differentiate between organic compound and inorganic compound. Chemical structure. Organic compound mainly contain carbon and other elements, but mainly contain carbon. Firstly, presence of carbon. Inorganic compound may be contain carbon or no. Solubility Organic compound, covalent compound, doesn't dissolve in polar solvent like water, but it dissolves in non-polar solvent, organic solvent as benzene, ether, alcohol. But in organic compound, most of them are ionic compound, so they dissolve in water as sodium chloride NaCl. Melting point of organic compound are low because they are covalent compound, but inorganic compound is high. Melting point of organic compound is low, but inorganic compound is high. They have a special smell characterized by special odors, organic compound. But most of inorganic compound odorless. Inflammability, it means burn, easily to burn. Most of organic compound are volatile substance, so they are inflammable substance. Inorganic compound, not inflammable substance. Kind of bond, covalent and ionic. Electrical conductivity, covalent compound we know don't conduct electricity, but inorganic compounds are good conduct of electricity. Rate of chemical reaction. Covalent compound, its rate of chemical reaction, we studied it in chapter 3, slow. Why slow? Because it takes place between molecules. But inorganic compound, its reaction is fast. Why fast? Because it due to exchange of ions. We have two probability, and two properties are very, very important for organic substances. Polymerization. What's meant by polymerization? Polymerization means forming long chain from small molecule. As ethene, it join with another compound ethene to form long chain called polyethene. Polymerization means formation of large number of molecules join together and form long chain. It called polyethene, and we will study it later by more explaining. This is characteristics for organic substances. Organic substances can form polymers, but inorganic can't form polymers. And we have a special property for the organic substances, isomers. Isomers means if we have a molecular formula, it can form different compounds with different structure formula. And we will explain what is the difference between molecular formula and structure formula. Molecular formula, as we said, CH4, molecular formula. We know from it number and the type of atoms, but structure formula, number and the type of atoms with type of bonds. So we can know number of atoms and the type of atoms with type of bond. So we prefer structure formula than molecular formula because it helps us to know the type and the kind of compound. This is very important in organic compounds. We can get an example for isomers, C2H6O. This is called molecular formula. We can write it by two different ways in two different molecules with different structure formula. First one, C2H5OH, ethyl alcohol. We can see the structure formula by bond. Carbon have 4 lines because carbon is tetravalent compound, and the hydrogen have 1 line because hydrogen is monovalent compound combined with OH hydroxyl group. So it called ethyl alcohol. It gives it a physical properties as boiling point 78.5 degree, melting point negative 117.5 degree. If we compare it with another compound can formed dimethyl ether CH3OCH3, we can write it in structure form. Structure form by using bonds, oxygen in center, carbon and carbon, each carbon join with 3 hydrogen, so it form diethyl ether. They have same number, they have same molecular formula, but differ in their structure formula. It means they form different compound in structure form and physical properties of it. And we can see the difference between melting point and boiling point between dimethyl ether and ethyl alcohol. This is the isomers. We can summarize which we said the difference between organic compound and inorganic compound. Organic compound covalent, but inorganic compound, most of them are ionic compounds. The difference between them is very important in polymerization, isomers, because these two properties specially for the organic compound, not inorganic compound. The solubility is very important. Organic compound covalent, so it doesn't dissolve in water, but dissolve in benzene. Most of inorganic compound are ionic compound, so they soluble in water very easily. The first question, as we said, organic compound contain mainly carbon and hydrogen, which called hydrocarbons. How we can prove that organic compound contain carbon and hydrogen? We can make an experiment. And when we said experiment, we must write observation and conclusion. Observation by using senses. Conclusion, what is the result which we get? This experiment by getting any organic substance and put it in test tube with copper oxide by heating, and the results pass through the tube. Firstly, we have a bubble. Inside this bubble, anhydrous copper sulfate. And the tube, the end, in clear lime water. Why we put anhydrous copper sulfate inside the bubble? Because anhydrous copper sulfate, its color is white, change into blue if it absorb water vapor. If it change into blue, it means there is a water vapor. It means organic compound contain hydrogen. This is the first observation. Second observation, clear lime water becomes turbid, becomes milky. We know that. Clear lime water change turbid or milky if carbon dioxide is passed through it. It means carbon dioxide pass. From where carbon dioxide? It means organic compound contain carbon. To write in simple form, we have two observations. First one, white anhydrous copper sulfate change into blue due to absorption of water vapor. Number two, clear lime water change milky or turbid due to passing of carbon dioxide through it. And we write the two equations. The first equation, 2 hydrogen plus CuO by heat, it will produce copper and water vapor. Water vapor which absorbed by anhydrous copper sulfate, and its color change from white to blue. Second equation, carbon plus copper oxide by heating produce copper and carbon dioxide, which pass through clear lime water and change it milky or turbid. Then we write conclusion, organic compound contain carbon and hydrogen. This experiment is very important. Now the type of questions and the type of exam will be different. So we must know all steps, all particles, all details in your subject to easily look for it. We have open book, but we can't look for it. So we must study very well and record every part. These equations can be coming in form of choose. The two main substances in organic compound, carbon and hydrogen, carbon and oxygen, carbon and nitrogen. We must know the main compounds of organic contain mainly carbon and hydrogen. Then we can classify the organic compounds. And this is the first beginning of classification of organic chemistry. And this classification is very important and very easily. It is very, very easily. Number one, organic compound can be classified into hydrocarbons. From the name hydrocarbon, hydrogen and carbon. And hydrocarbon derivatives. Derivatives means adding another element, nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur. It forms groups of compounds. We will study by more explaining hydrocarbons. We can classify hydrocarbons into main groups, aliphatic and aromatic. You must take care for the long language for you, aliphatic and aromatic. What's meant by aliphatic? Aliphatic, all compounds with open chain. Any compound written in open chain called aliphatic. But aromatic have unsaturated cyclic chain as benzene. It considered as the unit of aromatic compound. We return again for aliphatic. Aliphatic can be classified into cyclic and acyclic. Cyclic means cycle, and we must write cyclopentane, cyclobutane, cyclopropane. It called cyclic compound. But the most studying part is the open chain acyclic. It classified into saturated and unsaturated. What is the difference between saturated and unsaturated? Saturated means all bonds are single. It called saturated. It takes 4 directions. So it called saturated compound. And this group is called alkanes. You must take care because the difference is very small. Alkanes, A-N-S. Alkanes ends by alkanes, A-N-S. Its general formula is CnH2n plus 2. And we will explain this is by more explanation. Unsaturated contain double bond or triple bond. Alkenes by E, it contain double bond between carbon atoms. Alkynes contain triple bond between carbon atoms. What is the difference between them? Alkenes, CnH2n, alkynes, CnH2n minus 2. There are the 3 main groups of organic compound. Alkenes, alkenes, alkynes. What is the difference between them? General formula. Gradually, CnH2n plus 2. Alkenes, saturated compound. Alkenes, unsaturated compound contain double bond. Its general formula is CnH2n. Alkynes, unsaturated compound contain triple bond, CnH2n minus 2. This is the classification of organic compound. Today we will start by first step of nomenclature of organic compound, and it is very important for you. You must take care to write the name of organic compound. All of them contain carbon and hydrogen. How we can differentiate between them? all of them carbon and hydrogen. We must differentiate between them by using the Latinic name and the Latinic number. So we must use the number of carbon atoms. Firstly, CH4. It means one carbon atom. Its number called meth. C2H5. C2H6. Eth. Eth means two carbon atoms. C3H8 prop. 4 but. 5 bent. 6 hex. 7 hept. 8 oct. So we must know this number. Meth, eth, prop, but, bent, hex, hept, oct. Again, meth means one carbon. Eth, 2 carbon. Prop, 3 carbons. But, 4 carbons. Bent, 5 carbons. Hex, 6 carbons. Hept, 7 carbons. Oct, 8 carbons. And we can complete the number of hydrogen very easily. Put carbon and draw 4 lines. It represents 4 bonds with hydrogen. 1, 2, 3, 4. CH4. This group is alkanes. The general formula CnH2n plus 2. We can try Cn, C1, H, 2n, 2 times 1, 2 plus 2, CH4, methane. We can make it in any compound of them. Propane, butane, pentane, hexane, any one as you like. You can write the general formula for each one. Hydrocarbon, the nomenclature beginning by the numbers meth, eth, prop, but, bent, hex, hept, and oct. We have an important part. If we have alkene, lose 1 hydrogen, remove 1 hydrogen. CH4, remove 1 hydrogen. It becomes CH3. This is name remains methane. No, methane when it have 4 hydrogen, it's saturated compound. It's called methane. But if it lose 1 hydrogen, it becomes methyl. Methyl. What's meant by methyl? Alkyl, which alkene lose 1 hydrogen. We can stop at this part to help us for studying. The organic chemistry is very easy. You must study it repeatedly to never forget it and train for nomenclature. This part is very important, and we hope to see you again after studying and after comments for you to return any part and make some questions for this part. Thank you very much.